Protea has two abilities when it comes to dealing damage. One for survivability, but when it comes to going into survivals and wanting to survive, you're gonna have to rely on her fourth. But as far as with dishing out damage, you gotta be using her one and her two together, depending on the situation at hand. Her two, which is Blaze Artillery, can mop up enemies really quick within a short duration. And practically for the build, when you're building for Protea, you want to have enough power strength, you want to have enough range, you want to have close to max efficiency. I have 75 efficiency on mine. And you want to have enough duration, because you don't want to have too much of something, because one of your abilities is going to be compromised as well. I got Prime Continuity to go with Augur Message to go along with Constitution. I have Fleet and Expertise with Streamline so I can have max efficiency, like I said. Intensify, and I also have Power Drift in there for my strength. And I have Redirection in there. The reason why I have Redirection in here versus Vitality is because of the fact that when you use your first ability and you hold it, you get shield satellites. You get a lot of shields and shields second. When you tap it, however, that's where the shrapnel comes in. It will do slash damage and all that good stuff. Alright. Now, like I said before, Blaze Artillery is going to be your main thing when it comes to dealing out damage. It will deal heat damage at 500 at base, but pretty much with my power strength, it will have at 725, which is more than enough. But what makes Blaze Artillery so good is that damage per hit will be at 100%, and it will scale. You will see it go 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and it will increase in damage. So even if you have a lot of power strength, whatever damage you have on it, it will increase over time. So by me having 145, by it being there over time, keep hitting enemies consistently, it will go to like a 7 or 8, and you'll be seeing numbers like in the thousands, 2,000, 3,000, and so on and so on. All right, and it has a range as well, so that's why I have my range on as well. So you got to keep in mind when it comes to that. Dispensary is not really going to be a thing unless you're running with squad mates. They need energy orbs, health orbs, and ammo. This is where that comes in. And your ultimate temporal anchor is your fail safe. Should in case you know you're about to die, have that ultimate active just in case you go down. She rewinds herself back to the point where you put down your anchor. All right. Now, as far as with dealing with enemies out there, what you want to do to start off is to put out your grenades to get the shields. Then afterwards, you want to put down the artillery to stun them. Now watch what I'm going to do. Now see how it's stacked up right there, where it just hits at least 9 times on the hit. I combined the shrapnel to go along with the Blaze Artillery, because once it starts hitting them, it stun locks them. And plus with the heat, they'll be so confused with the heat, they're not going to be able to shoot at me. So I put the grenades out there to get my overshield, put out the artillery, then throw out a whole bunch of shrapnels at them, because it will hit them with slash damage. So think of it, slash damage with the heat, and of course I have the Tsar on me. I know I shouldn't be talking about the Tsar as far as with the build, because this is with Protea, but the reason I have the Tsar out is because, again, this deals viral damage. So viral, slash, along with the heat, it's going to be doing a lot of damage, and it's going to be stripping off so much of their health to the point that they will just flat out be eradicated on sight. They will be flat out done once the artillery gets going. So I'm just going to run that again just to show you guys what I'm talking about. Get them all clustered up like this. Put this out, put this out, put this out. Once this is done, put up another artillery there. And you just go to town on them guys. And as you see like that, boom, they're already dead. The artillery did what it needs to do. The shrapnels are still out there just doing a whole bunch of slashing and all of that stuff. But the main thing, you want your blaze artillery to be hitting them as much as possible. And the reason why I went to right here and lined them up is because the blaze artillery excels at narrow, close areas. That's why when you see people at Protea doing Tavuni survival when it comes to farming Kuva, you want to have your Protea in an area like this and put your blaze artillery right here, because it will shoot at this area right here. It's not going to be shooting along the sides right here or behind you. It has a line of sight. That's how blaze artillery works. So once you cop that with your first ability, combine those two abilities together, it is really, really nasty. So even if you're going up against enemies like the corrupted bombards, like if there's like 3 or it could be 6 or it could be 9, you want to have them in a clustered area, in a narrow area, to take advantage of blaze artillery, and then you could just go with your grenade action. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this out. Look at that, see? 12 times, they're already dead. Now, if you notice when I put out my blaze artillery, you notice it didn't reset as far as with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I wait for it to fully expire. You could put it out multiple times to keep the stacks going, instead of ending at 7 and then reset going back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you put out a blaze artillery, and if it shoots again, you'll see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put out another one, because it has its own duration once it starts ticking down. So that's another thing for you guys to keep in mind when it comes to blaze artillery. Right? So you put out the other one. And see, they're already dead. But as you saw, it hit them like 16. Because those two guys were like right in close proximity. So even though that rocket actually hit me, that blaze artillery saved me because of the heat. The heat proc stun locks them. So building Protea for a long duration survival, she's mainly a camp kind of frame, but she also provides support to her squad mates when it comes to her abilities with the dispensary, and of course if she's about to die, use her ultimate. But if you talk about just flat out damaging the enemy, you want to inflict as much damage as possible and kill them, you want to use your 2 and you want to use your 1 in combination. You got to be creative with your grenades. As long as with blaze artillery, keep it in a narrow tight area so it can just keep pounding them, just keep beaming at them over and over and over again. And once you do that, cop that with the shrapnels and then use your weapons. So you're talking about 3 things smacking them over and over. They're gonna die. They can't take all of that damage in a short period of time because you're hitting them constantly. Alright, so that's my strongest Protea build. It may not have a whole bunch of power strength like 200% or 223, but me copping blaze artillery with my grenades and with the weapon that I'm using, I'm doing just as much damage, if not more, depending on what weapon I choose with my Protea. So that's how I use my Protea when it comes to a survival game.